What's going on, Cowboy Faithful? It's your boy DMV back with another one. Talked about it. Hard Knocks. We're going to talk about episode 2. Before you do anything else, make sure you like, subscribe, hit that bell each time I come out with content. So we're going to touch on some of my key takeaways. We're going to touch on some of the bold areas that things happened in this episode. And feel free to comment, man. Feel free to comment and let's talk about these episodes. But like I told you guys, we're going to try and cover every single episode, and so that we don't miss anything, because you know Cowboys football is 24/7, 365. So let me get into it, man. The episode kind of started off with Mike McCarthy giving a speech right before the practice with the Rams, right? We knew that was an intense scrimmage, or you know, that was an intense practice amongst both teams, because for the most part, yeah, the Hall of Fame game had happened for the Cowboys, but it really, if you think about it, was the first live real action with another team. So both teams really came in there with a set of chippiness, and I knew that Mike McCarthy was going to come in there and really just set the tone, and that's what he did with that speech. Really dropped a lot of F-bombs. I mean, it's grown men. If you've been in the grown men locker room, you know that those F-bombs don't really matter as much, but really the message to get across was, all right, let's take it to them. Let's really take it to them. You know, let's up the ante. Let's up the competition. Let's up what we bring to the table. And, you know, I really thought that the Cowboys did do that. We saw that in practice highlights. If you've been following, you know, CeeDee Lamb, obviously, you know, was getting off like crazy. He's been getting off all camp. And really the thing we were kind of waiting on was the Aaron Donald, Connor Williams matchup, which I'll talk about a little bit later. But yeah, I mean, you know, the guys really did get after it. And from then, you know, they kind of cut to Ben DiNucci, where, you know, he's still kind of trash. Like Ben DiNucci, he is what he is. But, you know, in practice, you know, I think that he took from the Hall of Fame game and tried to up his level of play. And I think that you could kind of see that in practice by really mostly just trusting his legs. Because if we're being honest here, his arm isn't what makes him a quarterback. His thought process isn't really his strength. His strength is really his athleticism and being able to do both, the dual threat. So you could kind of see in practice him, you know, kind of rolling out of the pocket, you know, kind of doing the little Romo thing where you kind of, you know, turn your shoulder and, you know, be able to run and use his legs. And you could kind of hear somebody in the background saying, man, Ben DiNucci fast is, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so his athleticism is something that I think he should probably feature more in his quarterback ability. But when they cut to that, they go to another segment where he's kind of whooping Micah Parsons in chest. And, you know, Micah Parsons, it was pretty funny because Micah Parsons is like, oh, you're not even good. But you just hear Ben DiNucci just quietly talking trash to him the entire time. So I thought it was pretty hilarious. My second takeaway from that scene is that Micah Parsons, although he plays chess, that's the second time he's been whooped by a teammate. I'm hoping that he wins a lot more. But, you know, Mari got him the first time, then he got Amari back, and now you see Ben DiNucci talking trash to him the entire time, and he pretty much got whooped in that game. I'm not a chess player, but I do know that I see Micah Parsons go down to two of his teammates. So I thought it was pretty funny. Then they go to Terrell Basham, where, you know, they go to Coach Durde. I think that's how you say his name. If I'm butchering it, I'm sorry. You know, but, you know, they kind of go to him, talk about his background and him playing over in NFL Europe and his relationship with, Terrell Basham kind of comes up. Terrell Basham does a hilarious impression of him. I thought the impression was probably the funniest thing of this episode. And then, you know, Terrell Basham goes out and gets hurt, and right before he gets hurt, actually doing special teams, punt block, punt protection, or however you call it. He got rolled up on and was done for the rest of the day. And you can kind of see him, you know, going back to the tent. He went back to the tent, got taped up, couldn't go after that, and then they sent him into the training room. You can kind of tell that he was really pissed off that he was missing the reps today. So hopefully he comes back and it wasn't really that serious. But yeah, I mean, Basham is going to be a key part of this defense. We just got to make sure that this defensive line, you know, stays healthy. Man, Gallimore went down in the preseason game the other day. It looks like reports have been saying 4 to 6 weeks, but I've also been hearing 6 to 8 weeks. So, man, we just got to make it out of camp with these defensive linemen intact, because I think that they're going to be a big part of our success here. Next segment, CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb, ladies and gentlemen, that's what I have written here on my notes. CeeDee Lamb is just whooping everybody in front of him. It doesn't matter. He's chasing greatness at this point. I wasn't a big fan of changing or making his number 88. I get what they were trying to do. And I think that he is putting that chip on his own shoulder, as you could kind of see in the episode. And he's really, really doing work, man. He's whooping everybody. Don't matter if it's Jalen Ramsey. Doesn't matter if it's Trayvon Diggs. Doesn't matter. He's out there putting in the work, making outstanding catches, and just making the most out of his reps, you know. So, big ups to CeeDee Lamb, Micah Parsons, another takeaway. Micah Parsons is a dog. He's a dog in practice. He's a dog when it comes to the preseason games. You see it in the Arizona game. He is going to be really, really good. You can see it, and you can see it happening fast. I'm just hoping that he can continue to develop over time, because he's going to be good fast, and I'm hoping that he's not the type of guy that, because we've seen Cowboys get good fast and then kind of fall off, and then they get used to the limelight of being what a Dallas Cowboy is. But this kid right here, man, he's a different animal. He's a different animal than what we're used to getting in Dallas, in my opinion. So, I'm really happy in hindsight that we did pick him and we're building around him. And I'm hoping that this becomes his defense. I'm really hoping that this becomes his defense that he's able to lead. Ben DiNucci, he showed in the game, in the Hard Knocks episode and in the game, that once he's comfortable, he's able to make plays. And, he led a fourth quarter drive that probably should have been the game winner, even though it was about 10 minutes left. But, yeah, I thought Ben DiNucci came in, led that drive, once comfortable using his legs, moving around a little bit, having fun. He came in and he led the team down for a drive. So I could definitely see where people are starting to lean towards that way, where they're like, oh, I kind of like Ben DiNucci. And maybe this episode was to try and make us like him. To me, I still think he's not a good quarterback. But, my man Foots is like, I like him. And him and Vach are fighting back and forth about it. As a coach, looking at it from a coach's perspective, I like Ben DiNucci. As a fan, I can't get him off my team fast enough. And there's no middle ground when it comes to Ben DiNucci, in my opinion. Kamara, the young boy, he looks good. I really like his effort. There was a point in practice where he kind of, I think he hit Cooper Rush's arm, or it might have been Ben DiNucci. I think it was Ben DiNucci. Hit his arm by accident in practice, and they were kind of getting on him. But the one thing that I'll tell you about him is his motor is unmatched at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like, I really like that about him. I don't know if he makes the 53, but practice squad might be a good thing for him, because I think he could end up being a good developmental player. Or if he does make the 53, which I don't think, he's also going to be a guy that can probably jump into special teams, because he hustles. That's what I really like about him. Not only does he make plays, and he kind of made a strip sack that didn't count in the game. He made plays in that Pittsburgh game as well. So you can't have too many guys that are hustlers on your team that'll go balls to the wall. So I really like that about his game, and I wanted to make sure that I said that in this recap. And last thing that I want to talk about in the episode, as far as kind of lining up the points, you could tell by losing that preseason game that the coaches really, really care about winning, and they care about developing these young guys. They want these young guys to feel what it's like to win. You could hear Dan Quinn in the booth saying, this is going to be a hard-fought game. He doesn't care that it's a preseason game. Mike McCarthy doesn't care that it's a preseason game. They really wanted to win that game, and you could tell. And That's something a little bit different. You know, they're not lax, and I like that. They want to win, and they want to win every time that they step on the field as a coaching staff, and I can really appreciate that. So that was my last point about that. My big takeaways from the episode, my big takeaways, and then I'm going to end. Aaron Donald was dominating practice, but I will tell you this, in the times that we saw Connor Williams up against him, he did not let up, and I like that. I like that a lot. You know, I know a lot of people want McGovern to move into that starting role, you know, fast, and he's played well as preseason. But we are not talking much about the improvement of Connor Williams. You know, I think that it shows a lot of improvement that he's able to stand up to Aaron Donald and you know what I'm saying, pretty much make it a stalemate or win that matchup. Because it's not like Aaron Donald was going soft. You know, I was going back and forth with, you know, one of the people in the comments about it, you know, saying that it's just practice. It wasn't just practice for the Cowboys. And quite frankly, if you watch the episode, it wasn't just practice for Aaron Donald. He was working. He was trying. So I think that we shouldn't look past that. I think that Connor Williams has made quite the improvement. And my second big takeaway is that with all this stuff going on, all of the limelight that Jalen Smith is trying to steal, you know, if you kind of go look at the clip, he kind of stole some limelight away from Casey once the turnover happened. He kind of pushed him out of the way. Out of all the limelight and all of the swiping and all of the headlines and things like that that Jalen has made over the years, we're not seeing him at Hard Knocks at all. I don't know if that's by design, but I don't think it is because D-Law isn't even practicing. He had his own little segment. I don't think that Jalen is doing very much. I know my guy Tuck is a big Jalen guy right now, but the fact that he's not really in these Hard Knocks like that, even though we saw him messing up drills and stuff like that before early in camp, that speaks volumes in my opinion. I don't think he's doing very much. We know that Jordan Lewis was coming off an injury, but Jalen has been out there every day. And we don't even see him on the episode. No, nothing. The guy came back from something that he wasn't supposed to come back from. That's a storyline in itself. And they can't make any storylines with Jalen Smith, man. It's not looking good for your boy. I'm not necessarily saying he gets cut. I don't think he gets cut at all. I'm just saying his role in this defense, I don't think he's going to have very much of a role, especially if you watch that preseason game with Neal flying around, Parsons flying around, and then you hear that the starting nickelbacks are going to be Parsons and Neal. Where does that leave Jalen? I don't think he's going to have very much of a role, man. It's not looking good for your boy. But let me know what you think, man. Like, comment, subscribe. You can hate. I don't care what we talk about. As long as we're talking about Cowboys at this point in the Hard Knocks episode. All right, guys. Peace.